Okay, hit record. Okay, everyone, welcome to, I think this is session number 6, Project Alpha. So great to have you all here. I hope you've really, if you guys are watching the replay, hope you all are enjoying this and getting as much out of it as if you were here live. Really excited for today. But before we get started, I just wanted to I would say congratulate you, but it's something more than that. I'd like to just like acknowledge you all for showing up and getting this far. You know, so many people start things they don't finish through, or they're just like, whatever. But I must say, and I think I said this in the third session, that I truly appreciate all of you all being here, and it's a huge desire of mine to contribute to other people and share what I've learned and what I'm learning, and having you guys show up. I hope that this shows something to yourself. I hope you guys showing up here is just proof enough to yourself that you guys can be disciplined when you want to. All of you all here have want this desire to have a better life. You crave it. You'll do what it takes to make sure that it's possible. And I just encourage you guys all to take this momentum that you have and this proof, because one of the biggest differences between the millionaire version of yourself and the successful and happy and that version of you, the only difference is they know more than you do right now, as we said before. So I hope that you take this knowledge and the reason they know more is because they have more evidence. Someone who's been up here, they have more evidence that, hey, I know I can deal with nothing and still be happy. So I want you guys to use this as evidence whenever you're like, I don't know if I can stick with it long enough. You stuck through, this is session number 6, I believe. You stuck through 6 sessions of this. In my mind, these are supposed to be little 30-minute sessions with a nice little maybe 10-minute session, and I don't think we've done less than an hour ever. So I just commend you guys, and I'm super excited. And technically, I would say we're finished with Project Alpha. We've done all the all the little things you're gonna need to add to what we're about to learn this week. So if you just were to watch up until this session, you've got enough. You've got enough to integrate. And I don't ever want you guys to think that, if, for example, if you couldn't be here this week, that you feel like I don't have enough. One of the biggest, if you guys can remember, one of the biggest fears people have is that they're not enough. But what happens is that kind of gets rolled over, and we all of a sudden sometimes realize that I don't have enough. Like we get this mentality of I need to have more information. I need to learn something else. I need to do something else. I need to get something more than what I have right now. And if there's one thing I can tell you guys right now is everything that you all need is within you. Everything you've learned up until this point, you're good to go. You have it. It's about really integrating all the stuff. Now, what we're going to do this week is probably my favorite thing. This is the real internal part right now. So today we're going to talk about your beliefs and your values. Now, beliefs and values, they run your life. They run your entire life. Everything that you do is because of your beliefs and values. If I said, hey, go over there and punch that person in the face, I don't even know, just go do it. Like most of you all here, most of you want to do it because you're like, I wouldn't do that to someone I don't know. But someone who doesn't have that same belief system, they don't believe that at all. So what we're going to really do is, the belief system is what makes you do everything you do. It's the fuel. So if you have this part of you not in alignment, or you don't know what's going on with this part, you just do whatever, you don't really know. Whoa, I like that now. Hold on. Whoa. Technical difficulties. Because if this light doesn't work, that means I'm going to have to use my iPhone light in my face. Not that I'm opposed to it. Yeah, I'm going to have to do that. Hold on one second. Got to pivot. Here we go. iPhone light in the face. I got it. Hold on one second. Got to get the good lighting. Lighting is important. We're good. As you guys can see, I anticipated that. You guys can remember, react, respond, anticipate. You anticipate, light dies, no problem, we anticipated it. I don't mind having light in my eyes. But as I said about the beliefs and values are what runs everything you do. It's the fuel. So if your beliefs are messed up, and this section that I'm teaching you guys right now, this was not a part of my life 2 months ago. But since it all changed when I went to Date with Destiny with Tony Robbins, and since I've taken this, I've applied this into my life and seen a huge difference. I apply this with everyone I work with one on one, everyone that I talk to. I'll sometimes briefly say it, and in every program I will teach this. So you guys who will go on and join next program, future programs with me, this is what this is going to be integrated in every single one because it's that important. And you can keep going over it plenty of times and it will still be valuable to you. But before we jump into it, I have just a couple more things I forgot to announce for this week. So at the end of this week, I guess I should have said this before. This is why I need to make my notes and go over and when I get too excited with what we're going to do. But this week is a fun week, as I said. What we're going to do is, I'm still trying to think of how to do this, but we're going to have a giveaway later this week. We're going to have some giveaways. We're going to have some fun times this week. So I want to give you guys, I think it's always important, and one hack that I use is I always give myself something to look forward to. It's been the one hack. If I had to have one hack that has gotten me through the most things in my life, it was giving myself something to look forward to. Whether that was, I don't know, when I was as a pro athlete, it was like, I'm going out on Saturday night after the game. Doesn't matter if we win, if we lose, if I play amazing, if I go to the hospital to get stitches in my eye, I'm going out after. And just giving myself that something to look forward to has helped me tremendously throughout so many things I've done. And I'm going to show you the power of it. The giveaway will be on Friday, so you guys know. And you don't have to put your names in a hat. You don't have to do any of that. We have a great group here, so we'll do it live so you guys can see it. It'll be really fun. I think that's all I'll say. I'll just let that be in the back of you guys' mind, so when it happens, you'll be like, oh, okay. And you're going to see the power of having something to look forward to. It's going to be something really cool given away. So I'm going to be giving two things away, actually. And one of them is money. So I know that always cheers people up. Now you guys are smiling, aren't you? I love humans. Oh, I love humans. And now I got you smiling. Okay, so about these beliefs and values that we have, as you guys know, they're the fuel that runs our life. So the problem is, it's not always the beliefs that we have, it's the rules that we have to feel this way. So if you can remember, we talked about rules. They run our life or they can destroy your life. And that's because our rules are what allows us to do it. So I'm going to give you a very good example is a rule that we have to feel happy. Happy might be something you want in your life. Maybe the number one thing that you want. But why do you want to be happy? How do you know when you're happy? That's a rule. So that's a rule. So a lot of times what you're going to realize, we have all these rules for ourselves, but we make it so hard. So many of you guys, we make it so hard on ourselves to feel good. To feel good, what has to happen? Stars have to be in alignment. The moon has to be out. We have to be in our favorite restaurant with that one music playing. We have to have our favorite waiter serving us that perfect glass of wine or whatever it is you drink. Your favorite meal, then we can finally be happy, we think. So think about all that has to happen to be happy. All this stuff, boom, 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 boom. This. Now, what about to feel sad? What about to feel like disappointed? How hard is that? It's usually pretty easy. Someone just cuts you off, gives you a bad look, leaves you a bad comment, says you suck at something, and all of a sudden, boom. And we always remember that. And if you guys can remember, all the rules that we have in our life that hold us back were all built out of fear, trauma, or scarcity. Fear, they're going to say this. Trauma, because they said that and that hurt me, so I'm not going to do it again or protect myself. Or fear, or fear, trauma, or scarcity, like I'm not going to do it because there's already too many people doing it. And I can't, or I don't want to get that because I don't think I'll be able to make the money back. So these are the rules we put in place, and these are what destroy us. And they don't even destroy us because we don't realize it. It just basically just leaves us floating on this raft that we built that we feel is safe when we could be living on an island or living in a yacht. But we don't because our rules have kept us so small and so protected. But in that shell, we outgrow it, but we just force ourselves to stay in it. It'd be the equivalent of growing up and just never changing shoes. wearing the same shoes no matter what happens. And you can imagine how painful that would be. But the crazy thing is, after a while that you've done it, when you've been in this pain for a long time, it becomes just such a normal for you that you don't even realize it until someone cuts that shoe off, which is what we're doing right now. And you're going to realize it. They cut that shoe off, and you're like, what have I been doing? Like, yeah, you know, your feet can really just like spread out, like, and just be free. And I don't want to sound super disgusting to you guys, but one thing that I've noticed is that the people here in Asia have much different feet than we do in Western society. If you guys, they have just natural feet. The people's feet are like this because they just wear sandals all the time. And if you look at Western feet, all of our feet are just like this. All of our toes are touching, which is something that's crazy because I don't even know why I noticed. I just noticed the way people walk. It's like my thing. Everyone has a weird thing. I notice how someone walks, and I always remember it. And I'd be like, wow, all the Balinese, their feet are like this. And everywhere I was, it's because they wear sandals. Their shoes, their feet are open. So they grew totally different than we did. You know, now my feet are okay. But when I was in basketball season, I was telling someone about it because I get like pedicures here now. I've never done it before in my life. And I was like, wow, I just look at my feet and it's like, I don't even realize that. Because as an athlete, you don't really see, you see us playing and you say, oh, wow, they're so lucky. But all of us, our toes are messed up, the nails are black. I hate to be disgusting, but this is the reality. And you get the little blood blisters under there, and it's just a normal thing. Like, yeah, we all know this. And that's what goes on behind the scenes that a lot of people miss out. And that's how it is when you grow. When you're growing and you're constricted. Or you've just been doing something a way that it's the only way I know how to do it. So many people getting that. That's the common thing. It's the only way I know how. So another question, if you guys wrote down those 3 questions we said last week, a good question to ask yourself is like, is there a better way to do it? Is there a better way? Because if there's a better way, that would make everything so much different and maybe easier and, of course, better. And, you know, with these rules that we have that constrict us, we don't even see another way. And the problem with these rules is when we make it hard for ourselves to feel good, and any rule we make at any time in our life, we're going to judge other people to see if they're measuring up to our rules. You know, one of the things that I caught myself doing, a huge thing, I didn't realize until the other day, is I was sitting in this restaurant. I was sitting in a mall area, and the restaurant was like inside the supermarket, so you can see everyone in the supermarket. And I was looking, and all the local people, most of them wearing masks, and then there was this one like couple, and the guy wasn't wearing a mask, and I just looked at him like they keep yelling at everyone for this, like just do it. It's like what you're supposed to do. And I found myself in that moment judging this guy, like judging him, like he's wrong for not doing that. And, you know, it made me think like, wow, Lou, are you just judging him because he doesn't agree with your opinion? And I'm like, and I had to catch myself like, oh my gosh, I was. Regardless of whatever I believe is true. And now when people are like, no, people need to do this and they need to do that, I'd be like, well, do you believe that people should have the freedom to express themselves? And people are like, yeah. Well, that's someone expressing themselves. Someone not following, that's them expressing themselves. So if I believe in expression, then how can I hold someone back because they don't express the same things as I do? You know, and there was a moment that I caught myself. I caught myself on a rule that I've just made. And I know I'm not the only person. Maybe I'm the only one. I'm sure you guys don't do this, but we make these rules and then we get mad when other people don't go to our rules. They don't follow our rules. You know, one of my favorite comedians is Sebastian Maniscalco. I think that's how you say his name. Very difficult last name. Italian guy. And he's like, you know, my parents raised me by this book of rules that they had. And that's how my parents raised me. But the problem was nobody else on the planet had that book of rules. And he just talked about his difficult childhood, but he was raised by a book of rules that someone else had. So you can see how our rules can really imprison us, or if we lay back and just kind of take away the rules. Life is so much different. We're open to so much more. We're not judgmental of everyone. Because when the problem is when we're measuring people to see if I'm looking at you guys, I'm looking to see if everyone's giving me eye contact. Are you guys making facial expressions? Some of you guys, I've realized when I get deep conversation, you guys forget to breathe. So I'm like, they're not breathing. Like, am I doing okay? And I'm judging you guys by these rules that I have. Like, what is this? And most of the time, our rule is based on our experience. Think about the rules that you had for yourself when you were younger and look at them now. So different. So what we're going to do today is actually pretty fun. We're going to we're going to go through your values first of all. So this is going to be kind of like you guys are going to have some time to do it. I'll give you a few moments. We're going to go through our values and we're going to see what the rules are to feel that way. Now, I don't think I have it written down here, but in Date with Destiny, we did this. We listed the things that we're heading for in our life, things that we value a lot: love, success. So we're going to go through this list for you guys, and you're going to write down what the rule is. How do you know you've achieved it? And this is where you'll be surprised. This is where my mind was blown. It was in this exercise that I just was like, oh my goodness. Like, what I needed to feel that I achieved something, it was a pretty damn hard rule. It was actually impossible. The rules that I had for love, impossible. I couldn't even fulfill those for myself. And I'm with myself 24 hours a day. The rules that I had to feel, I can't even remember what I had, significant, that was one of my things. The rules that I had to feel important, because important was something I was going for. I wanted to be important. But the rules that I had to know that I achieved it, almost impossible. I did this with a partner, and her rules, impossible to achieve. And our rules are all subconscious. So as you guys are about to write this stuff down, you're going to realize that, oh shit, this is like hard. I never thought about this. I've never thought of how I know that I'm feeling love in this moment. How do you know? It's just a rule that we put in place at some point in time, and we just subconsciously let it just show up when you want. And what happens is we let fear take over us. We don't open our hearts. We hide. We keep ourselves safe because of these rules that we've put out. So we're going to go through this, and I have these written out in a very specific way. And this will help you guys out a lot to write this out. So, and we're gonna phrase it like this. Now, this isn't even my teaching. This is something I'm taking directly from Tony. So, but this was super helpful. So there's 4 parts to this, what we're gonna do right now. So we're gonna frame this though. These aren't the things you're gonna write down. This is you right now. We're gonna do this is you before you started Project Alpha. Because you guys have changed, I know. You guys have changed. You guys aren't the same. So we're gonna write down before Project Alpha. You don't have to write it down, but all these are what you were feeling before we started this. And there's 4 parts. So you can write it down on your paper. Maybe just do part 1. And I'm gonna read you how to write it. So these are going to be your towards values, the thing we're gonna write first. Now your towards values are the things that you're heading toward. Because you guys remember, we make all our decisions based off of 2 things: pleasure and pain. Pleasure and pain. So we're trying to head towards something, and we're trying to go away from something. So success, achievement, love, what else is there? Significance, fun, joy, peace. These are all things that maybe you're heading towards. And we have the things we're heading away from. For example, one of mine was sadness, anxiety, depression. But if you look at these 2 lists that we made, I'm gonna give you time to write it, don't worry. If I look at these 2 lists, if you have to think in your mind which one was easier for me to get to, feeling successful or feeling sad, like, of course it's sad. Because for me, one of the rules that I had for sad was things don't go my way. That was what I had for sad. Now I'm a very extremely energetic person. And I really alchemize it really quick. I don't like to stay down too long because I know good things don't happen when I'm feeling down. So I got to get myself out of that state. But I was coming out of that state a lot because, someone let me down. Okay, let's go on to the next thing. But it's really easy to feel sad. So we're going to, and to feel happy, to know that, I don't remember what I had as number 1 on my list. I think I had, I think happiness might have been number 1 on my list, to feel happy. And my rule to feel happy, I couldn't even think of what it was that made me happy. I put everything, like everything. So if you slip and fall down these stairs, you're going to be happy? Like the whole list was just, we didn't know, we're not aware of it. This is something that happens behind. If you guys can remember, 95% of what we do, I think that the number is actually 88% of the things we do are subconscious. I mean, we don't even think about it. I mean, when you're brushing your teeth, you're not about like going up and down and up. You're not even thinking about it. You don't think about it. You just go to bed. You're like, oh, I forgot to brush my teeth, and you're thinking about what you're gonna do tomorrow. You don't even think about it. You put the top on, you left it, you're done. You don't even think about it. You're running on autopilot. So now we're about to stop the autopilot. We're about to see what's really going on. So for this part one, you're gonna have to write the question like this. And I'll repeat the question if you guys need it. But I want you to do what has been the most important to you in life. This is what you guys are gonna write down right now. I'm gonna give you guys a few minutes. And this is what you're heading towards. What has been the most important to you in life? So you guys can just keep writing right now. I'll just throw some things out there. Some people, happiness, joy, peace, friendships, relationships, connection, success. Most of my overachievers out there, success is probably up there. So just write some of this stuff down. What has been the most important to you in life? And let's do 5. You guys can do some more on your own time. Like you can make a huge list if you like, which I recommend doing. It'll be very, very, it'll show you a lot of things doing this about yourself. So what has been most important to you in life? Joy, peace, happiness, relaxation, smiles. Well, you put happiness, I guess, for that. What has it been? Love. Let me get this list out. I'll give you like 1 or 2 more minutes for this. Really important to really think of this. What's been most important to you in life? Most important to your life. Relationships. And make sure you're writing a value. It should be some kind of almost like love, something like this, not just being with my best friend. That's a meme. That because by having something, then you'll have that. So it's almost like an emotion. You've been heading towards this value. Your life. It's important that you have this. A lot of people had peace. A lot of people had significance, achievement, success, contribution. This is one of them. Uncertainty. A lot of different things. If you can get 5, that's amazing. Even if you only get 3, that's perfectly fine. We'll go through it. Or you're going to go through this. And when you guys get it done, just type done in the comments. There's no pressure. Take your time. What has been most important to you in life? Some of you might be writing a lot more. Some of you might have 8 or 9 or 10 things. No pressure. Very simple day today. It's all we're writing out. Most important for you to feel. Love. Happiness. Fulfillment. Fulfillment. Yeah. Significance. Responsibility, some people. Success and achievements was big for a lot of people. This is your values. It's huge. This is basically what runs you. And this is all before you started Project Alpha. This isn't you anymore. Not that anything you're writing is bad. I want you to write down, but as we start to go through this again, I think you're going to see some differences. Fun is another one. Some of my clients have put that on there. Give you guys about 30 more seconds. 30 more seconds. What has been most important to you in your life? Achievement, recognition. Okay, when you guys are done, just write done if you could. In the chat. You guys about 15 more seconds. Done. Awesome, awesome. Okay, now with this, awesome, amazing. Okay, so this list that you have, maybe if you guys can in the comments, write one of these that you had on your list. Just write one of them to give people an idea to see if they had this on their list. I have a feeling everyone's going to probably write the same thing. Finishes with the letter E. Because one of the best things about doing stuff in a group is you realize that you're not alone. Financial independence. And to do the financial independence, to kind of, this is a good one, but what do you need, what gives you that? Meaning like success, what gives you that? Because if you have some success, yeah. Trust, that's one I forgot. Trust, balance, love it. Because long-term financial independence is kind of a need. Like that's a means. Once you have something, then you'll feel that. But that's okay. You can keep that in there. You'll be surprised with the rules for this. Balance is huge. Yes, absolutely. That could almost be into the long term. That could be that. Okay, so what we're gonna do now, and we're gonna simplify this. You can do it on your own. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take your list that you have, and we're gonna fix the syntax of this. So if you guys can remember, syntax means the order that it goes in. Okay, the order matters. You know, as I said, if I said, Sherry, the dog bit Sherry, or if I said Sherry bit the dog, there's a big difference in that, especially for Sherry. So the order really matters with this one. So what we're going to do, the way you're going to do this has been like, what has been more important for you? So you can compare the first one to the second one. If the second one really should be number one, move it up. And then compare that second one to the third one. Maybe do 4 or 5 of them just to get it. And I'm going to write it down so I can give you guys some in the comment section. I got to write it down. Hold on. So in the comments, I have 4 written down. I'd have to see, is love more important than happiness for me? And you got to really think about that. Was it more important for me to have love or happiness? And I said, it was more important for me to have happiness. So then happiness would now be number 1. Then I would compare love and importance. And I'd say, it's probably more important for me to be important. So now love goes down another 1. And just contribute it. And then, just change this, do this for about the first 3 or 4 of them. Mm-hmm. When we did this in Date with Destiny, by the way, this was like a 2-hour break to do all this. So don't beat yourself up. Don't beat yourself up. get the order of it. Play. Yeah. Play, fun. These are good ones. Yeah. Yeah. Some people had fun in their list. Fun is a good one. I love that. Fun is important. When you guys are done, just write done in the comment section. I'll give you guys a few more moments. Awesome. Okay, so what I want you to do is to go through the first three on your list. You're going to go through the first three of these values that you have. Success, trust or balance, love maybe was number one. And I want you to write out three things that has to happen in order, or let's do two. What has to happen in order for you to feel that? And the most important thing in this session, guys, is to be honest with yourself. Be honest. This is number one. This is the one session where honesty is the most important. And it might be a little tough for you to figure out what has to happen in order for you to feel it because it's in your subconscious. What has to happen in order for you to feel that? So you guys that had success on the top, what has to happen in order for you to feel successful? What rules have you put in place? Or should I say barricades? In some cases, most cases. I'm gonna try to be quiet for like 30 seconds. Give you guys some time. Cut some more light on. What has to happen in order for you to feel successful? What has to happen in order for you to feel love? Let's write down 2 or 3 things that have to happen. And I encourage you all when this session is over to go through this list and refine it. The more you write out is cleaning out your closet, basically. The more things you can write out, what has to happen for you to feel love? What has to happen? Love on my list, what had to happen was people had to tell me they loved me all the time. People needed to write me, call me every day. They needed to ask about the projects and things that I'm working on. That's when I felt it. And I know you might be looking at this and the rules might sound pretty messed up. That's what we're here for, though. I see you guys writing there. Please do not forget to breathe. Some of you guys aren't breathing out there. Breathe while you write. There you go. There you go. What has to happen in order for you to feel successful? What has to happen in order for you to feel achievement? What has to happen? In order for you to feel that way, what has to happen? And let you know how important this is, the simple fact that it takes us this long to come up with how to even know that we feel a certain way. It says a lot. Everyone does this, everybody. Like I said, this was a 2-hour exercise. And we wonder why it's so hard to feel this way. And when you're done, just write done. What has to happen in order for you to feel successful? Or feel success, what has to happen? It's these rules. It holds us back, holds us down, keeps us captive. It's our own rules. We're not even aware of it. want to feel good, but we don't know how to know that we feel good. Give you guys about 1 more minute. One thing you probably are realizing is that you've made it really hard on yourself. You've made it really hard to feel some of these feelings that make us feel good. For example, your number one thing that you're heading to. Look how hard it is to feel that way. Like I say, that's what we're here for. About 10 more seconds. If you guys don't finish, you can go over it a little bit later. It's no problem at all. The more you write on it, the more things come to you, write more rules out. And trust me, you're not the only one. I will repeat, you guys are not the only one with fucked up rules. You're not the only one. Just about everyone who does this, you become shocked with some of the things you had. If you were honest, anyone who had easy rules, they've either done this many times before, or they're just lying to themselves, which only hurts them. Okay, so maybe just by a show of hands, anyone have some very difficult rules to feel? The things they're heading towards. Anyone, or was I the only person? And the most beautiful thing here is everyone was like, I don't know, I'm good. Everyone, every single person has just crazy things. We can't even, you're like, how? But I hope you understand right now, by doing this right now we're going to do an integration process and you're going to be perfectly fine after this. You won't have to, it'll be so easy for you. But in this moment, I want you to look at this list that you have of these are the things you're heading towards in your life. And I want you to just look at how difficult the rules are to feel that way. So when you wonder why it's been so hard for you to feel that, look at the rules to feel it. You know, and this is something that's so important. We're going to go to the other list in a moment, but I want you to really embrace this list right here because this is what you're going towards and making it that hard. And understanding what you guys have done right now, bringing it to the surface, we can now change this. We can change it. Because with these rules, with how hard it is, it's pretty, you'll as we do the other list, you're going to see like, oh, no wonder I felt that way a lot. No wonder I've had to do things to try to distract myself from that. Because if we don't uncover it, it just keeps coming back. As we talked about, I think in maybe session number 4, someone who's scared to be alone, and that's their number one fear is that they're going to be alone, this doesn't go away. It doesn't go away when they have somebody. It doesn't go away when they finally meet the love of their life. Instead, it's amplified. Someone who's alone and they live by themselves, but they're scared to be alone and they live by themselves. When they get with someone, now they're going to be even more scared because now they're scared they're going to be back to that other person, or by themselves. And while they're with the other person, they're going to be fearful of the other person. They're going to leave them, and it's just amplified. So this is why we're bringing all these things out to the surface, because when we do this, this is when change can happen. So now, the fun part. We're going to do the other list. So the other list is your away values. And like I say, this is Tony Robbins' teaching that I if you guys ever get in a program with him, we go, or I'm always in these programs, we go in depth into this, even much more than we can do now. But what you understand by this is that, and I always give credit to people because I love teachings from everyone, and I kind of take people's and integrate in my life, and then I show what works for me. And this has been one of the most eye-opening things for me. So what you're going to see, now the eye-opening happens. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do the away list. These are things you've been going away from. The feelings that you've been having that you just want to avoid at any cost. You don't care what it costs you, you want to avoid feeling that way. And what happens, and before we do this list, I want to show you why what we're doing is so important. What we're doing right now is so important because a lot of you guys feel stuck. It happens to everyone. There's times when I felt stuck. Sometimes I feel stuck. There's probably something in my life right now where I feel stuck. I feel stuck right now, actually. What am I talking about? I feel stuck about, am I going to do the book? Am I going to do, which one am I going to work on? It's because these internal beliefs that we have, some of them contradict themselves. This is what the problem is. So I wanted you guys to make these rules out. And so this way you can see. I want you to start to look for the contradiction. For example, one of the things that I had is I wanted to have connection with people. Well, when did I feel connection with people? Is when I was with people. That was cool. That's a cool rule. But what else? They had to let me know that. Oh, okay, cool. But then I also had something else. I think I had I can't remember. I had another value above it. And one of those things for that second value to happen is I had to be by myself. That was like my guarantee. Like, to be happy, I need to be by myself because I can control that. But number 3 was connection with people. So these two things are in conflict with each other. So I'm running, like I'm sitting in the car and I'm slamming the brake down and I'm also slamming down the accelerator. And I'm getting frustrated and I'm not going anywhere. And so it's not even like you're spinning your tires. It's not the same thing. Spinning your tires, you can kind of get lucky. Maybe the rock shoots out and you go forward. But when you're holding both these things down, you want one thing so bad. Like, I want money so bad. And I know I'm a good person, my identity. So as you guys remember, your identity is what you'll defend to the death. This person who you think you are. Now I have something called Alpha Identity, will be out in a few months. I'm still working on it myself, as I told you guys before, trying to find a way to teach it. But because we believe that, I believe deep down I'm a good person. But I believe money's evil. Money's evil, but I want to have money. But if I have it, I'll be a bad person. I want to stay a good person. So no. So you have a conflicting belief. This is where you'll feel stuck. And a lot of times we don't know. Just like you guys struggle to figure out, like, what is my rule to feel that way? It's the same thing with trying to figure out, why am I stuck? Well, you have conflicting beliefs. You have conflicting beliefs. So as I told you, we talked about desire to break through your fear before. But if you don't know why you're still stuck somewhere, you can have the biggest desire and you'll still wonder, why is it so difficult? I'm making progress, I'm making money, but why is it so difficult? What else is there? What other questions could I ask myself? So everything we've done takes you to this moment now. We've cleaned a lot. We've cleaned the hood, we've cleaned all the stuff, we've polished the engine a little bit. Now we're going in the gas tank. We're rechanging all the stuff that runs the car. Just like if I haven't even done it, but driving a Ferrari, you can't put normal gas in that kind of car. It doesn't work. You have to put the best one in there. You can't just you don't put gasoline, you don't put the best gasoline in a jet. It needs jet fuel. So all of you guys don't want to just stay here. We're trying to move up, and we need to change the fuel. This is going to change the fuel, because now you're going to know what it feels like to feel successful. And you're going to make it damn easy. This is what we're going to go through, and we're going to change it. You're going to know it, because it's going to be integrated into your system. But before we can do that, we got to get all the gunk out. The gunk has to come out before we can put in the right stuff. So now we're going to do the other side. And this is a very fascinating one for you all, because you're going to be like, no fucking way. It was that easy. And this list always seems easy for people to kind of fill out. So for this one, you're going to phrase it like this. I have it written down exactly how we're going to do it. In the past, so this is part 3, actually. So the question to ask yourself, and you have to phrase it this way because it really works with your mind. In the past, what have been the feelings you would do almost anything to avoid having to feel? So I want you to think about that. Okay, I'll repeat it a few times. If you want to write it down and see it. In the past, what have been the feelings you would do almost anything to avoid having to feel? Maybe this is sadness. Maybe this is depression. Maybe this is anxiety. Maybe this is frustration. This was like one of mine. Sadness was mine as well. frustration, maybe disappointment. Disappointment could be one of them. Maybe disappointment. That was a huge one for a lot of people. Maybe disappointment, sadness. Which one of these? And Raphael, if you can hear me, we just started the next part. It's in the past, what have been the feelings you would do almost anything to avoid having to feel. You would do anything to avoid these feelings. Depression, anxiety, frustration, sadness. What are these? You would do anything to avoid feeling these. This is your going away list. Write as many as you can. Like I say, I believe our minds with frustration, sadness, worry, stress. What are some of these that you would do anything in the past? I'm going to phrase it exactly like this. In the past, what have been the feelings you would do almost anything to avoid having to feel? In the past, what have been the feelings you would do almost anything to avoid having to feel? This is game changing right here. This is your away list, things you're heading away from pain. When you guys get done with this, just write done when you can. I'm gonna give you another minute. As I say, if you're watching the replay of this, just push pause. If you guys are here live, just go through this after we're done with this, and we keep doing this list. Write out a couple more things. I think when we did this in Date with Destiny, we were at 10, but finished around with about 12 to 15 of them on the towards and the ways and the rules. Like I say, you're going to see the conflicts that you guys have here. That's what makes things so difficult. So just become aware of it as you're writing this list down. See if you start to notice anything that you put in the first one on your things you're heading towards. And I want you to look at this list of things you're heading away from. See if any of them conflict each other. I'm sure you'll see one or two things. A lot of people had rejection as the number one thing they were trying to avoid. But on the thing they were heading towards was success. It's a little bit difficult. That's holding the brake and holding the accelerator on a full tank of gas. How do you have success without rejection? Some people have disappointment as number one. Disappointment, that's the number one thing they're trying to avoid. But the number one thing they're heading towards is love. How does that work out? It's a pretty painful life. You're scared to be disappointed, so you're running away from anything that could disappoint you. But you want to go to love. See if you can find the conflict in it as you're writing it out. Even before you write the rules. Probably look at the second thing on the thing you're heading towards, and probably look at the first thing you're heading away from, and see that these two things, that doesn't work. Achievement, maybe, is number one. Success, any of these. But you're trying to avoid sadness, disappointment. When you guys are done with that, just write done. Or actually, don't write done, write finished. I see a lot of done on the comment that I'm getting confused. No pressure here, guys. No pressure. Like I said, go through this when you guys can later as well. Make this list as in-depth as you can. So once again, we're going to go through this list again. And what we're going to do is we're going to change the order, or we're going to organize it in order. The syntax is so important. Remember, we can say the same thing, but if we say it differently, that changes everything. The dog bit Sherry, or Sherry bit the dog. Two totally different things. So how we're going to do this again is you're going to compare them to each other. And you're going to compare it by saying, in the past, which of these feelings would you do more to avoid? Blank or blank. So compare your 1 and 2. Oftentimes it's the third one that you guys have that should be number 1. But your mind is still trying to keep you safe, because if you knew that was number 1, you'd probably freak out. So compare them by saying, in the past, which of these feelings would you do more to avoid? This or this? In the past, which of these feelings would you do more to avoid? Blank or blank? Which one would you do more to avoid? When you're finished with this one, just write, I'm done. Like I said, go over this list after we finish. It'd probably be better as soon as we finish to go over it, because you'll still be in the state that you're in right now. Things will come to you much better. Done. Awesome. Okay. So you should know what's next. We're going to write the rules. I'm done. Don't worry. These rules are usually easier to write. What has to happen in order for you to feel, and write out the rule for your first one? Do it for the first 3. This usually goes faster, because most of us feel this way more, this list. So on this bad list, the things you're heading away from, what has to happen in order for you to feel whatever that number 1 was? Sadness. What has to happen? Write out 2 or 3 of them. Once again, this is just a little friendly reminder, my friends, to breathe. Just a reminder to breathe. Sherry. I see y'all. Some of y'all aren't breathing. What has to happen in order for you to feel like I say, when we finish this session, make sure to go back through this list. Just write out a couple more things. Get it all out there. And there's a reason why we're doing this in 2 parts. We'll restructure all these, don't worry, on Wednesday. But it's important that you sit with this today and tomorrow, so that you can realize exactly why you were feeling the way you felt, and why so often you felt that way. Look how easy you've made it to feel that way. But we're going to go through this. We're going to go through it. And since this is kind of the last thing we're doing, I'm going to just call on one of you guys, just to kind of, you don't have to go through your list. You don't have to say what's on your list. I just want to know, what have you felt as you were writing the list out and you wrote your rules out? Just want to hear one of you all to share what was the conclusion. Like I say, you don't have to share the details of it, but what you have realized. Raphael, would you mind going? I think you're. Oh yeah. Good. Can you unmute it?
Yeah,
Yeah, I hear you. How you doing, brother?
yeah, good. Yeah, it got really deep with the feelings, you know. That's why I
Mhm.
need so much time, and it was such a
Absolutely.
feeling. Oh, you go deep inside of you. Yeah, this was
Hmm.
situation.
Yeah. And what did you notice as you were making this list, as you were making the things that you were heading towards? What was something you felt as you were starting to write the rules? Anything come up? Anything you
Yeah,
noticed?
maybe it get more clear, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So when I notice this, okay, here we start, then the other things, and I'm not finished, but it becomes more clear, you know. But I
Yeah.
can't describe it now.
Yeah.
Finally,
Yeah. But you feel yourself going inside and having to pull this out that you didn't even know was
yeah.
there. Yeah.
Mm.
And that's the most beautiful part. And as you're writing the list for the things you're heading away from, and you're writing those rules out, does any of them seem easier? Can you see? Are you able to see a difference why it was so hard to feel one way and so easy to feel the other one? Or were your rules? How were your rules?
Yeah, it was much easier to write things that are not so good, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
was you have okay, and when I started to write something, okay, what can I do to feel the good stuff? Yeah, it was really a little bit harder.
Yeah, to even think about it, and we don't even realize it sometimes. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's awesome. But we're gonna change it all. We're gonna change it all
Okay.
soon. Yes, thank you for sharing. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, you're welcome. Thanks.
Yeah, yeah, and I just did that little share with you all, so you can just see that what he said. Everyone was feeling. It's the exact same. Everyone has fucked up rules, and both of them, because you're like, how can it be so easy for me to feel sad? What has to happen? Something doesn't go my way. Oh wow. Well, let's find the challenges in someone's life who has that. Someone who has it. Something doesn't go their way. They're gonna feel sad. They're probably gonna have a sad life. So as we made out all of these things, we're going to really, we're going to really. I want you guys to sit with this for a couple of days, just to think about it. Some more things are going to come up, as Raphael said. As you to do this, you have to dive deep because we just don't think about stuff. Like the one thing why I'm able to help you guys is because I see you better than you see yourself. So I know the questions to ask. I know the questions that the future you knows. So I ask those questions, and you haven't thought of it yet because you're not there yet. You haven't thought that way to ask yourself these kind of questions. And just like someone who sees me, maybe they know to ask questions that I wasn't aware of. So as you do this, I want you guys to realize that this is what's made things so difficult. There's nothing wrong with you. You guys aren't broken. You're not even confused because you're doing what you think you know, but you actually didn't even know what you didn't know. It's like one of those paradoxes because you're not aware of it. As we said in the very first episode or the very first session of this, is that it's a flashlight. This entire thing is this light. This iPhone light has been shining in my face for the last I don't even know how long. It's that you're shining it. You're becoming aware of this stuff because it's only when you become aware of this that you can change it. I know that this is a very difficult process, and as you guys finish this, and I encourage you guys to do this, just take 10 minutes when this session's over, finish it in a few moments. Take some time to go through it while you're in this state that you're in. Because when you realize it, you bring all this stuff out. You can feel frustrated. When I did this, to give you an experience, my experience, when I did this, like I say, we had about an hour break to do this. When I finished this, we still had about 3 or 4 hours left of the session. And as soon as the session was over, I remember getting on my scooter and I was riding home because I was doing this at a friend's place. And I was like, I hope I can get home before I throw up. And as soon as I got home, I vomited because it was that, like, oh my gosh. Like I say, if we were to sit with this for an hour and you were to really write this stuff down and see exactly the rules that you had in place to feel love, and you're like, this is the number one thing I've been going for in my life. And this is that's the rule that I had for it. This is the hard part. So what we're gonna do is I want you to sit with this, write some things out, and on Wednesday we're gonna go through. Wednesday is the good day. Wednesday, we're going to go through, we're going to really frame this the right way. But if we were to change it right now, it wouldn't work because you go right back into it. Because the key to get someone to change, you need leverage. And right now, you're like, oh, it's okay, it's fine. But the rest of today, you're going to start to realize, like, oh my gosh. You're going to be looking at like going crazy. And tomorrow, you're going to think about it even more. More rules are going to pop up. More rules. And what happens is you attach enough pain to it. Like pain. When I get people to change what they do, like I just link enough pain to it. And people change because they want to avoid it. We haven't changed it, because you didn't know about it. Now you know about it, but that's not enough to change it. Linking enough pain to something will make people change like this. You guys remember the story of the little girl who went in there and saw her father smoking cigarettes, or he was having smoking a cigar. And she went in there crying to her father and said, Daddy, I want you to be at my wedding. I don't want you to die from smoking. I want you to be at my wedding. That caused enough pain instantly to make him change. Because the only reason why we haven't changed and we don't change, number one, is we don't know about it. And number two, we haven't linked enough pain to it. Knowing that if I keep eating like this, I'll be fat and just look horrible and people make fun of me and I'll feel bad about myself. That's fine. That's in the future. Who cares? But when there's an immediate, hey, when you go to the doctor and say, hey, if you don't stop having all this salt, you're going to die. And you got about a week to change this. That's when you see people change. And sadly enough, in life, we don't really want to change until we get right to that threshold. Either we hit rock bottom, or we change because we can't take it anymore, or we just exhausted ourselves and we can't do it anymore. But once you get pain to it, that's the key to breaking anything. Is linking pain to it. When I work with someone one-on-one and we're trying to really I break people's paradigms. I make you see the world totally different by just changing one or two things. And all of a sudden, it's a complete different life that you have. So someone who, as we go through this list that you guys have, this order of how you feel something, like if you're this order that you have things in, next week we're going to go, in next session we're going to go through, and maybe you're going to want to change the order of some of this stuff once I explain some things to you, because order matters. So someone whose number one thing in life is success, okay? And don't change it yet. I know some of you are like, oh, I need to change that. Don't do that yet. Someone whose number one thing is success, and someone whose number one thing is love. These people are going different ways, different directions, different job, different business, different drive that they have. And that's without the rules, without even changing the rules. Just changing the order changes your entire life. Someone whose number one thing that they have is contributing. His contribution is number one on their list. And someone whose number one is fun. These people don't have the same life. These people don't have the same life. If number one thing you want to do is contribute, and number one thing I want to do is have fun, I'm going here, you're going there. Because if it's not fun, I'm not going that way. But sometimes contribution isn't fun, but it's needed and required. So you can see that the order you put this stuff in is what changes everything. So we're going to also go through not only going to change the rules, but we're going to change the order. Some of you guys are going to want to change these. And I'll use myself as an example in the next session of what I changed with mine, because my list was pretty messed up. And what you're going to see is as we change the rules and we change the order, this is when your life starts to change. Because when you lead with success, as some of you guys have on there most likely, when you lead with that, and forget the rule. Let's forget the rule. Let's say you have an easy rule for success. But when you lead with success, what happens when you're not successful? What happens to number 2 on that list? That kind of just gets a little sad. What about number 3 on that list? How does that feel? Well, if you're not feeling successful, then you're probably not feeling a lot of love. That's maybe number 2. Number 3 might be something else. And if you don't feel successful and you don't feel love, you're probably going to make it going to be harder to contribute to people. And if you have growth on your list and you don't feel that, well, now we've got a problem. And that's a much different list. Someone who has success is number 1, love is number 2. That's a completely different list than someone who has love at number 1, contribution at number 2, Um, um, I don't know, what's another one? Fun at number 3, and then success at number 4. Because love, they just give it. So they feel love always. And fun, contribution, they do that. And now, of course, they'll be successful if they're doing all that on the list. Because that order matters. And once you change that order, everything in your life changes. Now, I'm like trying so bad not to give away what mine was and then what I changed it to, because I don't want you to start thinking of changing. Don't think of changing it now. Don't think of changing the rules. Don't think of any of that right now. Just focus right now on what has been driving you. That's what today and tomorrow is about. To look at this list as many times as you need to. Add some more to it throughout the next 1 or 2 days. So you can see that this is what's been driving my life so far. This is why I haven't been as happy as I've been. You'll see that when you look at this list, this is why I stayed in that job that I stayed in. That's why I stayed in this whatever I've been in. Because this is my rules. And this is what I've been heading for. And I can tell you right now, and this is the one of my favorite facts, one of my favorite facts when it comes to helping people, because it gives you such a huge perspective, is when you take off, if you have a plane you're taking off from Los Angeles, California, and you're flying to Sydney, Australia. I've done that flight many times. That flight is like 15 hours. Okay, it's a 15-hour flight, and no stops or anything directly. But if you're off by 1 degree when you take off in Los Angeles, 1 degree, you miss not Sydney, you miss the continent of Australia by 2,000 miles. By just 1 degree off. Because that's what time does. So the reason why you feel so stressed out and worried and you just think, how did I get here? Is because you didn't, it wasn't crazy. Like 1 degree, like if you start off in San Francisco and you're going to Los Angeles, I mean, you still are in the outskirts of it on the plane because it's a very short ride. But now as we space it out, the flight is 14 hours. Now you're off by 15,000 miles. Like from Sydney, and now you got all the north of Australia, and you miss all that as well. Now you're off because of time. So like I say, this person who starts everything they do to be successful, and the person who starts everything they do with love, in the beginning, maybe it feels the same. It's like me. I make videos because I love it. And I started the same as a lot of people, and I compared myself to them. Like, we're both just making things, and they just stopped. I remember her name was Jenny Noose. And I remember she inspired me so much because we were the same. I remember we were like 57 subscribers, 59, then she had 61. I was like, damn it. Then I had 62, then she had 70. And then I remember she made this damn video about Conor McGregor, and she just spiked up, and I was still here. And then 3 months later, she stopped. She was gone. Because she realized it wasn't happening fast. I don't know really what happened, but this is what I assumed. It wasn't happening fast enough. Whereas I did mine with love. I love doing it. And that's why it's 4 years later and I still do it. It's still fun. I love it. And it's because it's a completely different life over time. Like, I'm where I'm at because of that. Like, I know about Poland. I went back to Poland because of this. I've done these things. I'm traveling around and meeting all these people because of that. And here's the kicker. You guys can remember the story last week. The Japanese, my friend who had never talked to her, hadn't talked to her family in a year. There's things that you don't realize. She missed not only out on talking to her brother, but that cost her talking to her mother, finding out how her family was doing, how her village was doing. That cost her finding about how the 2 little kids were doing, her niece and nephew. That's what it cost you. So many times we forget to look at what it's costing us. This list that you guys have in front of you, don't look at it as like, oh yeah, it's all right. Look at what it's cost you. The need to be successful, the need to whatever it is that you have as number 1. Maybe it's even love, but the rule you have to feel it. Because we can change things. I'd love to tell you mine, but we're gonna have to leave it out. I don't want to say it now because you need to sit with this. Because you need enough pain. That's what makes people change. The best songs were written out of pain. It's not about. I saw an amazing picture today of my favorite athlete, LeBron James, blocking a shot to win a championship. One of the best plays of his his career, his phenomenal career. And it said that someone left a quote on there saying I can't remember the exact quote. It was something like, it's not the setback, it's the comeback. So the greater the setback you have, the longer that you've been off 1 degree from Australia and you've just been going for like 70 years and now you're out of our solar system, now the story of you coming back is great. It's the comeback. That's what people watch. People love the comeback. This is why Rocky, these movies, you need to, the greater the setback, people root for someone to come back, even if it's a bad guy. Like, you'll root for him, like, man, they got him, but he's just determined. He's bad. I'll root for him. We'll root for the bad guys. For the comeback. So I want you guys to sit with these rules, to think about it, and we're going to restructure all of this on Wednesday. We're going to go through it. I'll try to do it as quick as I can, but basically with this overview of it, you guys can watch the replay. The replay should all be caught up in about 2 days. They'll be uploaded. But you can go back through and redo this as many times as you need to, because it's so important. This is what's driving your life. And as you can see it, think of the rules, be honest with yourself, sit with these, and we'll talk with them, and we'll rechange them and do all this on Wednesday. And before I go, was there any questions? Any questions, or are we good? I think it's pretty clear. And it's okay to feel bad. Don't beat yourself up. It's just, you're on you didn't know. But now you do. Now you can sit with this. Let it cause enough pain, be irritated, frustrated. And I promise you, the worse you feel today and tomorrow, the better you're going to feel on Wednesday. Because the more willing you'll be to make this change, because you'll realize what it's cost you. And most of the time you'll realize that it's your own rules on the good list that have cost you because of the order. Like, you haven't felt love because you were chasing success, but if you had chased love and you made the rules right and they lined up, then you would have had the success, because success, maybe you define success that way. So we're gonna go through this, go through the order, sit with this, fill it out as much as you can, and I'll see you guys on Wednesday to go through this list. But cheer up, smile, guys. Like, it's okay, it's okay. You can clap your hands and say boom one time. Boom. It's okay. This is what we're here for. Okay, we're gonna re-go over it next week, change it, and I promise you, life will never be the same again, in the words of Tony Robbins. So see you guys Wednesday, same time, and yeah, love you guys. Thanks for showing up, and thank you guys for anyone watching the replay. See you guys. Ciao.